So every family law case in Georgia is technically required to have a domestic relations financial affidavit. The example ones online always have, say, spouse in here. I have a couple of versions of this where it's your name, other parent's name, petitioner, respondent, different ways of doing it, but generally they all look like this. And so if it's been a couple where they were never married, just ignore that part. It is an affidavit, so people need to do their very, very best to answer accurately because they're going to sign it and affirm that everything is correct. Okay. This is just a way for the court to see all of the financial information all at the same time. And because it's an affidavit, this is what they're going to base, a lot of the child support and division of assets and everything on this, because they're going to assume that it's correct. Okay. And so this is the summary up here. I kind of do this last generally. Because you're going to go through your income. This is the exact same items that were on the child support worksheet. So you can imagine that this financial affidavit would be very helpful in filling out that financial affidavit. When you're filling out for your client, you're not going to impute income in it. So if there's no actual income being made, you're just going to say 0. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 0. Assets, a lot of clients, and it says you're supposed to put your pay period in here. So if it's monthly or weekly, you can imagine that makes a difference, because if you're paid, $1,000 every 2 weeks, that's different than if you're paid $1,000 twice a month, right? You get an extra pay period in there if you or an extra 2 pay periods, I guess, if you are paid every other week rather than twice a month. So that's why it's different in here. And then this is never a contested thing, but what your taxes are. And then this is the net, remember, is after taxes. Gross is before taxes. For your net, you are only taking out state and federal taxes and FICA. You are not taking out any contributions to their 401k, any contributions to health insurance, anything like that. That's an expense that's going to be later on. That is not taxes. Okay. So for net monthly income, it's just taking out these taxes. Assets, your parties who are not getting a divorce are going to ask you why they have to do this. The answer is because. For bank accounts, I usually just write the last 4 digits here. And so I might say like BOA checking. And it's the value of the date that you're doing it. So it's, it's going to change. We know it's going to change, but it's doing the best that you can. So you might have a BOA checking, you might have a BOA savings. Okay. Separate assets. So I don't know if you guys are going to need to get into this. Separate assets, it's more about if the parties have never been married, all of the assets are going to be separate. If they are married, then this is kind of a sometimes it's a decision that the judge is going to have to make, but you're going to do the best that you can. So anything that happened before the marriage is going to be separate. Anything that happened during the marriage is going to be marital. So these are the reasons that it would be separate. So that it was premarital, that it was a gift, that it was inheritance. Those would be the major things that would keep it being a separate asset. Sometimes people just think that it's a separate asset if it has their name on it. That's not what that means. Retirement accounts. You sometimes see pensions, but usually it's going to be a 401k or an IRA. I can't think of money owed to you as like if you have outstanding loans to a friend or something like that. I rarely see that come up. Rarely is the tax refund going to be big enough that this is like a contentious thing. Real estate, we do see people who have, homes. The debt owed on home is going to be the mortgage. And so you have the fair market value here, the mortgage that's left on that. If there's a second mortgage, you may want to list that as well. Vehicles, you're going to have the fair market value and the debt owed. The fair market value is not how much they paid for the car. The second that they drive the car off the lot, it's not worth that anymore. And so you go to the Kelley Blue Book and you look up the actual current value of the vehicle. And if they're married, they're going to do all vehicles, all real estate, even if it's in one party's name, not the other. They're going to do the best that they can to get all of those listed. Life insurance only has value if it's a whole life insurance policy. If it's just a term life insurance policy, it doesn't have any value because you can't take cash out of it. Jewelry and furnishings have basically no value unless they are antiques or very, very expensive. You may pay a lot for your wedding ring, but it's not very valuable. So people always overestimate furniture and jewelry. They're probably not worth what they think they are. And then the average monthly expenses is really just a budget for people. It's going to be their average monthly expenses. That can get confusing for people. I know that, for example, I pay my homeowner's insurance twice a year rather than monthly. And so I need to add up and then divide by 12, right, to get the average monthly. Same with like repairs and maintenance. You probably aren't doing the same amount of repairs and maintenance each month. Do an average. Same with insurance and auto registration and all that. That's an average over 12 months. Childcare is going to be an average over 12 months. Health insurance, this is going to be the total. Remember, in our child support, this was $500, but that was the total amount. So it's $500, but the child's amount was $100. Okay. Same with dental insurance. Usually that's separate. It might be a total of $52, but the children's portion is only $12. Like I see that really frequently. If you are trying to get alimony or something like that, you want to hope that your client doesn't have a ton in your other expenses category, except for obviously child support and alimony paid to other people. But if you tell the court that you need alimony and you need help paying for things and you have, $1,000 a month in recreation expenses, the judge is going to wonder if maybe you just need to cut your expenses. So give an accurate view, but also just know that the judge isn't going to love it if you're going on a ton of vacation. Your debts are here. So remember our car, if you have your car payment in your expenses up here somewhere, then don't put it, same with like your mortgage. If you have your mortgage payment here, then you're not going to have it down in your debts. So don't double count things. So this might be like your Amex. The balance due is the total amount. So your monthly payment. If your client's not making any payments, they can't say they make a monthly payment. If you want, at the very least, you can put what it should be each month, but if it's like already been foreclosed on, like if they're not making any payments, don't make any payments. If it occurred during the marriage, it's joint. If it was it might be separate. Okay, so kinds of debts are like student loans, medical debt, credit card debt. What have I seen? There's like dental insurance or like dental payment plans. Can you think of other kinds of debt you might look for? Furniture.
think
like
the student loans pretty much covers it.
yeah, student loans, right? But yeah, like people have furniture, like they'll get stuff on a payment plan from Rooms to Go or whatever, and you usually pay way too much for their furniture. So then you're adding up just the monthly payments. So again, if they're not making payments on it, it's not going to be their monthly payment. So if they have a required monthly payment, you can get away with adding that up, but just be as honest as possible. And so then you're putting your monthly expenses here, or you're putting your creditors here. You have your monthly expenses up above. This is going to be a total number here. And then you go all the way back up to the beginning, to the summary, and you put your gross monthly income, your net monthly income, average monthly expenses, monthly payments to creditors, the total number, and then you'll see if their income is greater or less than their expenses and debts. If you have a party that has a lot more expenses than they have income and they don't have any debt, they're lying to you. Okay? If they have a ton of credit card debt, but they don't have a lot of expenses, that means they missed something somewhere. Okay? Or it means that you want to at least ask about it. Maybe they had a lot of student loans, right? That would be high debt, right? But if they have a lot of credit card debt and they have low expenses, you're going to want to ask why.